Heinen. Ted Dedee has overseen the most significant transition period in Overture's still very young existence. We will assess the state of Overture, the arts, and Madison some 15 years later, as I welcome to For the Record, Ted Dedee. Not that you were here for all 15, Ted, but it's been a pretty amazing half a dozen years, hasn't it?
The last 6 have been just absolutely remarkable. Yeah, it surprised us all.
Just for contextual purposes, Ted, so people understand, remind us of where you were before you came to Madison.
Well, this all started 45 years ago. After I graduated with a music education degree, I spent a couple years in the service and found myself in Hawaii. But in my spare time, started in helping to open a professional theater company in Honolulu, which to this very day still exists. I'm very happy to see it. I've been back a couple times to see their progress. But from there, I went to the State University College at Fredonia, New York, ran the Michael C. Rockefeller Arts Center for close to 5 years, then went to Rochester, New York to run the Eastman Theater for the Eastman School of Music, was there for 10 years. Then I got a call to move to Dallas to open the freshly constructed Meyerson Symphony Center that opened in 1989, home of the Dallas Symphony. Was in Dallas for 5 years, then got the call to move to Nashville, a place I never thought, as a classically trained musician, I never thought I'd move to Music City, USA, but there my wife and I were, and loved every minute of it. We spent, oh my gosh, 13 years in Nashville, first with the Tennessee Performing Arts Center that I ran for 9 years, and then the rest of the time I helped the symphony design and build and open the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, which we opened in 2006. And then I got a little bored and was looking for another performing arts center to open, and the call came to move to New Albany, Ohio, a suburb of Columbus, where I opened the McCoy Center for the Arts. There for 4 years, and then all of a sudden I was recruited to look at Madison, and boy, what an opportunity this was.
You know, in retrospect, it seems kind of linear, doesn't it? One building on the next, on the next, on the next.
It really does, and you know, from what I've described, I really have had a specialty in opening new buildings, a total of 4. Actually, when I was at Fredonia as an undergraduate, I helped to open that center. Little did I know that a few years later, I would come back to actually manage it and run it for the time that I did. A huge opportunity at a very early age. But in addition to brand new buildings, I've also had the opportunity to tackle a few turnarounds. One with Rochester, the Eastman School, there was a turnaround situation that really attracted me, and it was a wonderful opportunity there. When I was in Nashville, one of our resident organizations had some financial troubles and was about to go under, and we took that organization under our wing and helped to nurse them back to health, and they're healthy today, which I'm very pleased about. And then this final opportunity in Madison, which was just the most fascinating opportunity to look at this building that had opened in 2004, this wonderful gift that Jerry Fauci gave to this community. All of the turmoil that ensued, people commenting about whether that was the right use of a donor's money or not. And Jerry stuck by his guns. He was committed to the arts. He was committed to make Overture a place for everybody in this community, and it opened. Lots of turmoil, lots of water under the bridge at this point, and a lot of heavy lifting on the part of city officials at the time, the city council, the mayors, and the private sector to step up and say, is there a better way in which we can move forward? And that created the Overture Center Foundation, and I was just fortunate that they hired me to come and spend a few years here.
2012, this city was just coming out of the recession. And it had a pretty profound impact on Overture for reasons that are perfectly understandable now. At the time, they were hard, but it was something that we all had to deal with, and it was a tenuous situation for a while.
It was a very tenuous situation. Believe it or not, I was reading about it all in the newspapers, and fortunately, the internet was there for me able to. Before I even knew that the job of President and CEO was going to be available, I knew about this wonderful gift. I was was sitting in my office at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center when I heard about Jerry's commitment, and I thought, wow, is this a fortunate community or not? And then, yes, unfortunate circumstances that led to this incredible public discussion about the future of Overture, whether it would even exist or not in the future, let alone, how it would be funded, and taxpayers really concerned, and the private sector concerned, and many consultants that came to town offering different ideas and different business models of what could be done. And again, the private sector negotiating with the city came up with a plan to take over management of the building. And that's, like I said, the creation of Overture Center Foundation, the board that has been my employer for the last 6 years, and made a decision to really turn the corner on what had been a tumultuous first 7 years or so.
Without getting into all the numbers, Ted, the state of Overture today, solid?
Absolutely solid. 6 continuous years of being in the black. A nonprofit doesn't mean that you have to lose money each year. In fact, if you're a nonprofit and you lose money each year, you're out of business. And that was a concern that everybody had. We had to break even or make money. When I started, and when we took over management of the building from the city, there was no cash reserve whatsoever. We had no savings account to draw upon. We had to build a cash reserve from scratch. 6 years later, it's well over $2 million. So we have a cushion in case something happens. I know during the discussion with the council, they were very concerned about whether the roof would cave in at some point and how that was going to be paid for. Well, I don't know if we could pay for a roof yet. Maybe we could, but we've been able to do some things with building the cash reserve, and especially putting the money into maintaining the building for future generations that is absolutely necessary to do from the very beginning.
Well, we're going to explore some memories of Overture Center over the last 6 years with Ted Dedee when we come back on For the Record right after this.
For the Record, sponsored by MG&E, your community energy company.
The skills you can develop in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your interests in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment that you can transfer to an exciting new field. Get a head start on your career while serving part-time and earning money to pay for college. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to virtually eliminate your credit card debt with a monthly payment you can afford. To see how much you could save, call now. 1-800-908-0532. Don't declare bankruptcy. Don't consolidate. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. After all, we depend on your success and offer a guarantee so there's no risk. Credit Associates. Live better, debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-908-0532.
If you're shopping for a new mattress, the massive 4-day sale at Denver Mattress is the place to be. Our queen-size Doctor's Choice Plush is just $479.99. The Aspen 2.0 bed in a box is only $549.99. And you can save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets, which makes now a great time to buy a Tempur-Pedic. Don't miss the massive 4-day sale on now at Denver Mattress, your Tempur-Pedic elite retailer.
Ted Dedee this week wraps up 6 years as president and CEO of Overture Center for the Arts in an amazing 6 years. Ted is my guest on For the Record today. So 2012, you walk into Overture and look around and look at that building. Today, Ted, you know every nook and cranny in that building. What have you learned about Overture?
Well, into that, to the humorous part about that first week, I was ushered around the building for 3 hours to introduce me physically to the building. And after the 3-hour tour, the person taking me on the tour said, we'll be back next Friday, we'll take you on the next 3-hour tour. Mm-hmm. And by the time we were done the second week, I was told I've seen about half the building. And so I've literally spent the last 6 years with my master key going around and looking at every single nook and cranny in the building. And it's critically important that somebody in my position knows every aspect of the building and every aspect of the organization. And that's probably the first thing I felt very strongly about. I had to take the time to understand the organization from the ground up, to understand its history, to understand the desires of the board, the expectations of the board, the taxpayers, the city, and potential donors we were about to cultivate to help us raise an annual fund each year. The first couple of years was also about building confidence in the community that Overture could succeed. I knew pretty much that it could succeed. I didn't have a stock formula or my own model that I came in with, but rather it was all organic. After I spent time really understanding the building, the people, the organization, the programs, the community, and the potential. And it was all right there, waiting to start to put the building blocks in place.
There are subtle nuances to the building that I know are important to a lot of people, but from your perspective, the idea that you know, MMOCA is right there on the corner. You've got, you know, the art galleries, the visual art galleries built in. It's not just a performing arts center.
Great.
You know, you've got some rather extraordinary pieces to it that contribute to this kind of overall institution that we have, the Watrous Gallery.
Yeah, Jerry and Pleasant and the resident groups at the time, the community, everybody that had a say in what the hopes and dreams were going to be of this building, what it would provide, not only performance spaces, but as you say, the places that people walk through. 3 different entrances into the revised Capitol Theater that lend itself perfectly for art galleries, and then the entire lower level area, starting with a rotunda stage and going past the Playhouse towards the Henry Street exit, a wonderful area for gallery space as well that changes 4 to 5 times a year. Yeah. It's just a wonderful way to showcase the visual artists that we have in this community in Dane County as well.
Yeah. I've been to a couple of lunch events, Ted, for donors to Overture, for supporters, friends of Overture. And it's been kind of a remarkable situation. You've got people like Kevin Conroy, you know, who is talking about the importance of Overture to his business, to the people he wants to attract there. And you've got business people who are looking at it from that perspective. And that the images that you show are of outreach, going into the schools, the kids, the diversity there, and the business community supports that as well.
They do indeed. That really is one of the hallmarks of what Overture is all about, is being a leader in community engagement and being accessible to the entire community. And it wasn't that way, although again it was part of Jerry's vision that everybody would be welcome as they walk through the front doors of Overture. But performing arts centers traditionally around the country, Overture was not unusual like this, but performing arts centers generally are built around the symphony, the ballet, the opera, the theater company, the children's theater company, and Broadway shows. And many times, unless they're in urban areas, these centers aren't built to encompass the broader community. And I always tell the story. I love saying that when my late wife and Gail and I came to Madison that first summer of 2012, we spent the entire summer going to every single outdoor festival. And it was just amazing. Yeah. Starting with the Broadfest.
You were busy.
We were busy the entire summer.
Right.
But what what I saw, what I learned was, first of all, Madison is a community of neighborhoods. I learned that first, going to Willow Street Festival and then Broad Festival and then Orton Park Festival and Monroe Street, everything. It was just all about neighborhoods, and then learned how politics bubble up from the neighborhoods as well, and culture from the neighborhoods too, community centers. And I looked around and I said, where's Overture in all of this? Mm-hmm. We were nowhere at all. We were this edifice on State Street with the invitation for everybody to come, but there wasn't a connection between Overture and the entire community in all of the neighborhoods.
There is now.
And there is now, indeed, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done to create greater access and develop friendships with so many wonderful people that run agencies in the community that have now become really good friends and have been supporters of Overture and partners in everything that we do now.
I've written about this story, Ted, but my wife Nancy and I were walking through the rotunda one Saturday morning last year, and there was a group of young women. Israeli dance is what I think it was, a Jewish traditional dance.
Yes.
And they had invited up onto the stage these kids from families that were there, and there were African-American kids and Latino kids dancing this Israeli dance. The place was full.
Oh yeah.
Totally free performance. It was so much fun, and we thought this is what Jerry had envisioned.
Absolutely. He, it's interesting. Jerry wanted to ensure that this was enjoyed by the entire community, and we saw the opportunity to make these connections with our partners in the community and make sure that we were telling the Overture story that never really got told from the very beginning because there was so many other things happening. It was clouding the real story, the real work that was actually being done from the very beginning, but nobody was hearing about it. Kids at the Rotunda has been well over 35 years. It happened during the Civic Center days.
But this happens all the time. This wasn't an isolated Saturday. This is going on every week for these free events.
Right, 3 times on a Saturday as well, always filled. But it's wonderful to see kids of different ethnicities from different communities, and they're with their parents, with their family, their grandparents. We have parents that come bring their kids for Kids at Rotunda that used to be kids themselves. Right. So it's a second generational type of thing, and that's what it's all about. A place that people can feel welcome at, feel comfortable at, and feel like they can get up and dance on the stage if they want to do that.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about what's next, including Hamilton. When we come back right after this.
Sure.
It's the season for storms and possibly downed power lines. And while it may look harmless, a fallen line could be live and dangerous. Stay away from lines on the ground and areas covered with storm debris, where fallen lines could be hidden. Always assume that a downed line and the objects around it are energized. Don't touch them. And most importantly, if you encounter a downed power line, call MG&E right away. Stay safe. Stay away from downed lines.
At Denver Mattress, we love being your Tempur-Pedic Elite retailer, partly because 93% of Tempur-Pedic customers love their mattresses. And right now, during the Memorial Day sale, there's even more to love, with savings up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. You can also save up to $200 on select Sealy mattresses. And every mattress comes with our 365-night better sleep guarantee. So don't miss the Memorial Day sale, on now at Denver Mattress.
I love a good challenge, including when my 5-year-old draws a track for me to drive. And if I need a little help, my Q50 is there for the assist. The Infiniti Q50 with drive assist technology.
Lease the all-wheel drive Infiniti Q50 for $319 a month. Visit your local Infiniti retailer.
You always take care of your battle buddy.
It's a military vow one former soldier has taken to heart.
They will have that true and final salute.
Doing something good for homeless and unclaimed veterans on their final journey. Monday on News 3 at 10. Away from your TV? Not a problem. Get breaking news, weather alerts, and political coverage from the award-winning News 3 team. Plus, all things Madison. Stay connected anywhere with Channel3000.com. Madison's #1 digital news source. Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert weather app and start planning.
My guest is Ted Dedee, the new, freshly retired president and CEO of Overture Center for the Arts. What's next for you, first of all?
You know, that's the #1 question everybody's been asking ever since I made the announcement last fall.
That's what happens when you retire.
Well, I've been looking forward to it for a little while, but I've heard from a number of people that have gone through the path of transition to retirement, and the first piece of advice I hear is take your time. Don't make any sudden moves, any commitments whatsoever. Yep. And so literally my slate is blank at this point. Now I have a lot of things on the side wall that I've written on that will start to get transitioned over to that slate of things that I want to do. But I just want to take some time to enjoy my home, enjoy my neighborhood, and just get out. I love the park systems, not only in the county but the state, and do a little traveling and just enjoy life for a while until I start looking at some of these things that I would like to do. There's a couple of things that have been on my to-do list for quite a long time that I'm looking forward to putting some energy into.
So we're still going to see your fingerprints on the Overture calendar for the next year or so. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I couldn't be more proud of the programming that we do at Overture. We talked a little bit about the Kids in Rotunda and so many of the other programs that we do that are free and low cost for the community. But our hallmark, our bread and butter, has been the Broadway series that we have built from, not from scratch. It was there when I came here, but it just had gone to a new 5-week series. In other words, 5 shows, 1 week apiece, making up the series of Broadway. And everybody...
That's not enough to attract certain shows, is it? Is that the idea?
It's not enough. I mean, at that point, Madison was always considered a tertiary market. Right. Milwaukee has been doing Broadway for a number of years, and Appleton, 2 years older than Overture Center, had a head start as well. So Overture was in a mode of catch-up. And that in itself was a gauntlet that was tossed and an opportunity, I thought, to be able to say, is there an audience in Madison? A lot of people told me when I first came here that Madison could not support 5 weeks of Broadway. Well, 3 years ago now, we had 7 shows. One was Wicked that came back for a 3rd time for 2 weeks, and then Lion King came back for 4 weeks, a total of 11 weeks of Broadway. And we did better on sales capacity-wise than we did any time else. And the Broadway scene has been building and building.
Are we a secondary market now?
We have now overcome the tertiary designation now. We are now the #1 arts and entertainment market in the state of Wisconsin. And we also participate now in a Polestar, which is an industry tabloid that keeps track of sales throughout not only Wisconsin or the United States, but the world. We started submitting our numbers, and of all the things that take place in Overture Hall, during the course of the year, Madison is now ranked in the last quarter number 36, not in the state, not in the nation, but the world. It's just amazing what we've been able to accomplish. So we have now the attention of the producers in New York, and we are working on the final stages of a new contract with our Broadway partner, to the point where we could be bringing better shows sooner than any other market within the entire upper Midwest region. That's totally exciting.
Yeah.
Not only for me to be able to see that transformation, but to see more and more people seeing Madison as the place to come. No longer necessary to go to Chicago anymore to see Hamilton or anything else.
Right.
It's coming to Madison.
I just couldn't wait. But the fact that it is coming here next year is quite special.
Well, let me clarify that it will be here in the 1920 season.
Right.
So we're now in the process of selling subscriptions for the 18-19 season, which is just spectacular. 7 shows that have never been to Madison ever. So we're excited about that. Some great titles. I've seen them all. They're absolutely wonderful. Audiences will love them. But those that are subscribing, of course, will be the first ones to have the specific information and their ability to renew their seats for the 1920 season, which is the big year. Of course, we made the announcement in March. That's the Hamilton year.
Well, Ted, who lives, who dies, who tells your story. It's been great that Overture's been part of your story.
It has.
Thanks
indeed.
for taking the time. Have a great retirement, but come back and let us know how you're doing.
I will do that. Thank you very much.
We're going to come back and wrap up For the Record right after this.
The massive 4-day sale is on now at Denver Mattress. Our queen-size Doctor's Choice plush is just $479.99, and you can save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. Don't miss these 4 days to save at Denver Mattress.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I solemnly swear that I will support the veterans of the
United States Armed Forces.
I will defend the Constitution
against all enemies. That I will commit
to ensuring they are
not forgotten.
And I will obey the orders of the
President of the United States.
And I will enable veterans to live the same life of opportunity
they have provided me.
So help me God.
I'm Ann Groves Lloyd. I have fibromyalgia, a pre-existing chronic pain condition. I know what they're facing, the big medical bills, the fights with insurance companies. Let's protect people with pre-existing conditions from insurance companies. Getting healthy can be complicated, but paying for it shouldn't be.
Republican John Plummer, another Republican vote to refuse millions in federal dollars, against reducing health care costs, against funding hospitals and clinics, against creating thousands of new jobs. Ann Groves Lloyd, the better choice.
I've worked with all the greats. Spin it out. All right, everyone. These guys crossed that finish line on the big day.
Rep it out, yes?
Oh, part of me's gonna win, too. Go! Let's go. It's not a walk in the park. It's for $30,000. Hold it? Huh? Yeah? You got legs like linguine.
The Johnsonville famous racing sausages are taking it to a whole new level. They'll be running all season long with the new $3 scratch game from the Wisconsin Lottery.
You will never be a lean, mean fighting machine. Hey, go! Get back on the treadmill!
The massive 4-day sale is on now at Denver Mattress. Our queen-size Doctor's Choice plush is just $479.99, and you can save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. Don't miss these 4 days to save at Denver Mattress.
Our thanks to Ted Dedee and you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week on For the Record.